Hey guys, welcome back to We Watch a Movie. I am Mike, and today we're talking about the Scream 3 Assembly Cut. I heard about this from Viewer Anon on Twitter was talking about it, and this is a leaker person on the internet, and they were talking about releasing it. And the next thing I know, Scream Trilogy, which is an awesome Scream website you guys should all check out. They have this huge Facebook group with all sorts of Scream fans. It's an amazing site, good people who run that. Sent me a message, and it was the Scream 3 Assembly Cut. So I have started to watch it. Now, what is an assembly cut? It is essentially a rough draft of the finished version of the movie. Now, this is no light thing, this is no, oh, there's a couple extra scenes. Oh, they've put the deleted scenes in there. The original running time of Scream 3 is 1 hour and 56 minutes. This assembly cut is 2 hours and 22 minutes long. It's essentially the Schumacher Batman Forever cut or whatever other reference you want to use. Now, I don't know how this got leaked. I don't know what happened. You guys know me. I'm totally against any kind of leaks and stuff like that for future coming movies, but past movies, this is pretty badass. And I've begun to watch it. Now, you can find this pretty easily on the internet at this point if you want to check it out. Today, there's so much in it. I watched the opening and was just floored by it. I could not believe how many differences there was. So I'm just going to do a video about the specific opening today, and then I'll do another video here shortly about the full entire cut and every difference in it. So if you would and you don't want to miss that, and also they sent me the Scream 6 script, so we're going to go through and do every single difference between the Scream 6 script we got and what we got in theaters. So make sure you guys have the bell clicked and the subscribe button clicked so that you're notified when we do these videos and you don't miss out. We want to get this channel to where it's like Marine Prescott. Everyone's been inside of it. So I'm not going to play any of the actual video from it here because I really don't know what the copyright is or how that works, but here's what it looks like. And I'll show you several slides of it as we go through. It is very, very poor looking when you watch it. It sounds bad. The sound sounds like someone's like screaming into a fast food, menu, like that Dane Cook joke, like Whopper no onion. The sound's bad. The video's grainy, black and white, hard to see. It's definitely a rough cut. But your eyes, I will say, do adjust to it. When it starts out and there's the helicopter floating above Hollywood, you're like, oh my God, I can't see shit. Is this going to be unwatchable? It's not. Trust me, you adjust a lot to it. The movie starts out and it's pretty much the same at first. They are playing Red Right Hand over top of the opening scene instead of Marcos Beltrami's score. So the same thing. He's on the phone with his agent. He's bitching at her. It's just extended dialogue. He's like, the least they could do if they make a movie about your life is give you a fucking part in it. And then his cell phone rings, just like in Scream 3. And it sounds like a totally different woman's voice. I'm not sure if it is, but it definitely sounds like a different woman's voice. And there's extended back and forth between them too. She's like, I didn't call you, my phone rang. And one thing I'll say about this is Cotton Weary, Liev Schreiber is a little more playful in this cut. Like he's a little bit more loosey-goosey with it, and he's funner, and his charm comes through a little bit more, I feel like, in the assembly cut opening than it does in the Scream 3 one. I don't know if that's because they edited down the dialogue and whatever, but it definitely is. And he's talking to her and he's like, no. He's like, my phone rings, I answer it. That's you calling me. But there's an extra line of dialogue when he's talking to his agent when he flips back to her and he's like, hey, I gotta go. Harvey's calling me, and hangs up the phone, which, as time would tell, was a very good joke to decide to take out of the movie. In the assembly cut, it remains the woman's voice the entire time. There's no Ghostface voice on the phone call at all. It's just this woman's voice. And I gotta say, that would normally you'd be like, oh, that sucks ass. But I'm gonna be honest with you. I think it's better in the assembly cut. It's creepy. Her voice gets immediately fucking creepy. And it just, you gotta watch it. So at this point, she's pretending to be the random caller who just likes the sound of his voice and thinks Cotton Weary has a sexy voice, which she's right. So does Aaron Rodgers. Did you guys see Cotton Weary on Hard Knocks the other day? That was fucking awesome. For those who don't know, he is the voice of the HBO Hard Knocks show, and he actually flew down in a helicopter and came to meet Aaron Rodgers in the Jets. It was really cool. An added line of dialogue here, he actually says out loud that he's planning to have phone sex. He's like, what's your name? He's like, I mean, if we're going to have phone sex, I should at least know your name, which is not in the original cut. That goes on a little bit longer. Like I said, he's a little bit more playful. He's a little bit more devious in this one. Now, in the original, Ghostface comes on the phone, and he wants to know Sydney's location.
Who the fuck is this?
Somebody who'd kill to know where Sidney Prescott is.
Now, in this one, the assembly cut, it's still the woman's voice again, but doesn't ask anything about Sydney, doesn't mention Sydney whatsoever, and all they say is they want to play the game. Now, the game they want to play is the same game they played with Casey Becker in the original. In this one, though, it's hilarious to watch him try to figure out, because she's like, what's the horror movie with the car, about the car? And he's like, one word, I know this one. He's like, I know this one. He's like, Carrie, no, that's the one with the high school. He's like, Cujo was the one with the dog. And it's funny to watch him go through this. He's such an idiot in this scenario, but it actually works really well to his character. It's actually kind of likable. The car race scene when he's racing home is pretty much the same, and you can imagine that took a lot to get that done, so it's understandable that they would use the action sequences in both. They didn't cut that down much. There's a little bit of an extended driving and like him saying get out of the way and stuff like that, and in the original it cuts back to the actual Christine who's in the shower getting dressed in his house. That's not here at all. She does not show up on screen except for one moment, which we'll get to, but that is completely cut out of this. He races home, and from here, it's almost an entire new opening sequence. In the original, Creed's "What if you did?" while she's walking through the house, and she thinks Cotton's home, so she goes to turn off his boombox. Now, Creed's "What if" in Scream 3 is fucking awesome, no matter how you cut it up, but in the assembly cut, I gotta say it's used better. In this version, Cotton's going upstairs, the shower's on, he's asking where she is. She calls him, and she says, hey, this is Christine. I'm at Starbucks down the road. Somebody called me from your set, a woman did, and told me to meet you down here. So it's at that point Cotton realizes that he's alone in the house with the killer, and she's starting to go, hey, what the fuck? Is there a woman there? And he's like, I can't do this right now. He tells her to call the police, and he picks up the fire poker thingy and is creeping through the house. And it's at this point that the assembly cut plays Creed 3. It's at this, that's so fucking weird, right? Creed 3, Scott Stapp, Creed, Scream 3. What the fuck? Anyway, it's at this point that the Creed's What If kicks on while he's thinking he's alone in the house, and it just works way better. Now, it's also creepier because the whole thing's in black and white, and just the way it looks when he's in the house creeping through it, it's actually kind of scary because of the black and whiteness. It just adds this whole thing to it. Now, obviously, they couldn't do that in the movie, but it just works here. It's kind of neat. He gets another phone call from Christine, and this is actually a really well set up jump scare how they do this. She says, I'm running up to the front door right now. So he goes to open the front door while he's talking to her, and she's like, get the bat in the front closet. He turns and opens. He's like, oh yeah, the bat. So the front door's here. He turns to open the thing to get the bat, and the Christine's body, just like Halloween, just flops out of it. And he's there, and now the door's open, and he's bent over and he's picking up her body. But then when he realizes that wasn't her he was on the phone with, in a pure cold-hearted Cotton way, it's funny how he just drops her wrist and it just slaps the floor. He stands up, and then Ghostface pops out of the doorway, stabs him in the chest, and he goes down. And from here, it's exactly the same shot and scene that we saw at the end of Scream 3.
It was a simple game, Cotton. You should have told me where Sydney was. Now, you lose.
But in this one, Ghostface says, it's time for my show, Cotton. You've been canceled. And then reaches up the knife, and that's when Cotton goes, but I'm in the sequel. And then the knife goes up, and he stabs him, and boom, it cuts out. Now, this isn't the greatest dialogue I've ever heard from a Ghostface in a Scream movie, but I will say it is better than the dialogue in this moment in the original, where he's just like, you should have told me where Sydney was. Now you lose, and then stabs him. I did like this one better. And then it pans to Courtney Cox giving her speech as Gale Weathers, whereas in the original it pans to Sydney's escape, her solitude house, her fortress of solitude out there. And from there, we'll get to the rest of it in another video. But as I said, it's just so different here. It's an entire different opening. It's an entire different vibe. The same things happen here and there, yes, but it's just totally different. And I gotta say, I'm shocked to say this. I like the opening of Scream 3. I think it's a good opening. I think it's one of the best parts of the movie. But I will say that I actually like the assembly cut opening better, which makes me really excited to get into the rest of the movie. But I don't know, just seeing more of Cotton, seeing more of Liev Schreiber kind of cut loose, and that jump scare and the way that they set it all up, I thought was really well done. And while I do love the actress who plays Christine, I thought she was really great in that opening to Scream 3. Her being in the closet as a dead body, just I thought added some spookiness to it, some weight to it. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say it. I like the assembly cut better so far after the opening. But once you guys check it out, please let me know what you guys think about it down below. Are you going to finish the movie? How do you feel about what you've seen so far? And I cannot wait to get into the rest of this with you and get into all the differences between the Scream 6 script and what we got on screen in Scream 3. 6 fuck my ass with a fork. But thank you guys so much for watching this. I love your all's fucking faces, and I hope you have a great day.
Hello, listener. Do you like scary movies? What's your favorite scary movie? Well, Jay and Mike like scary movies too. You should go and subscribe to their podcast, We Watched a Movie. Because if you don't, I'll gut you like a... Well, I think you get the idea. Enjoy yourselves while you still can.